over the years and even earlier this year, the Twins have played some good baseball in Chicago. They hope to have a good series here against the Chicago White Sox, having already won a series here. They'll have to contend with this guy, one of the most improved players in the American League, Avisail Garcia, and he's really punished Twins pitching so far this year. A couple of starters familiar with the other team. Mike Pelfrey, of course, pitched for the Twins. Hector Santiago broke in with the Chicago White Sox. They'll face each other in Game 1 tonight. Twins baseball on Fox Sports North is presented by State Farm. And it's a cool, clear night here on the south side of Chicago. We've got great baseball, Twins baseball for you with the first of 3 between the Twins and the Chicago White Sox. Dick Bramer joined on this road trip by Roy Smalley. The Twins will play tonight without Miguel Sano. Major League Baseball heard the appeal late last week and decided today that Sano would have to serve a 1-game suspension, which he will serve tonight, and that puts a little bit more focus on the other big bat in the Twins lineup, Kenny Vargas.
I have to believe that when Paul Molitor looks at his lineup card and starts filling in spaces, that he can imagine Kenny Vargas stepping up to be the player that he might be in terms of power. He's got to like trying to find a place in the lineup for this big guy. He's made an awful lot of improvement since he broke in a couple of years ago. He's swinging at fewer and fewer bad pitches. He's learning what pitches he can handle, and it looks like he's starting to find his way at the plate. If he can swing at balls down in the strike zone and stay away from bad balls, this guy's got a chance to be a legitimate power threat.
Those numbers very Sano-like. We'll see what happens in Game 1. And tonight, the first night of 2 of our broadcast auction. Stay tuned tonight. You can watch some good baseball, maybe get a keepsake from this series here in Chicago.
You know, it's definitely one that I've enjoyed playing in.
I was there when they were really good in 2009 and 10, and that place was sold out every night, and it was amazing to play there.
That's why I came up through the minor leagues and the big leagues, so it's always fun going back there and seeing those familiar faces.
It's definitely a cool park. It's got some really neat aspects to it.
I see the ball pretty well there, so it's a great place to hit.
I also like hitting there, so it's one of my favorites to hit at.
Now called Guaranteed Rate Field, and tonight it's Bark in the Park. For every fan here, every 2 or 3 fans, there'll be a dog here. And so we are, and I believe this to be true. I think the White Sox were the first team to invite dogs to a ball game. And they had a parade on the field.
Very popular night here in Chicago.
Yeah, and then the grounds crew went to work as they have to do and got this field ready to play. Paul Molitor disappointed that his big slugger Miguel Sano can't play tonight. Not surprised, but still disappointed. And we'll talk about that as the evening wears along. The Menards batting order for the Twins includes Joe Mauer in the leadoff spot. Jorge Polanco batting second, Max Kepler third. Then Kenny Vargas, Eddie Rosario, Eduardo Escobar getting third base in place of Sano. Then Jason Castro, A-Ray Adrianza, and Byron Buxton.
Big Mike Pelfrey on the mound for the Chicago White Sox now this year. Twins know all about Mike Pelfrey. Has a tendency to throw an awful lot of pitches and not a lot of them in the strike zone. Twins will be trying to get him in the strike zone.
And Mike, of course, left the Twins to sign a contract, a 2-year deal with the Tigers, but he made 64 starts in 3 seasons. Came back from Tommy John surgery, and instead of getting better every year, I think it's fair to say that the numbers got just a little bit worse every year for Pelfrey after the Tommy John surgery. And a lot of people in baseball were surprised that the Tigers gave him 2 years, and maybe even more were surprised that the Tigers decided to eat his contract. They released him late in spring training. The White Sox picked him up, put him in Charlotte for a while, and then, as is the case throughout baseball, the need arose, and so they called him up to the big leagues. So basically, Mike Pelfrey is getting paid $8 million by the Detroit Tigers to pitch for the Chicago White Sox. Yakov Smirnoff said it, right? What a country. White Sox defensively, brought to you by Northland Ford. Melky Cabrera in left, Willie Garcia in center, Avisail Garcia in right, Frazier, Anderson, Saladino, and Abreu, the regular infield now for the White Sox. And a change behind the plate. Giovanni Soto scratched about 45 minutes before game time with a barking elbow. I'm sorry. I honestly did not mean to do that.
Oh my goodness.
And so it's Narvaez who will do the catching. Mauer in the leadoff spot, then Polanco and Kepler. Twins took 2 out of 3 from the White Sox here, the first weekend of the season. And Pelfrey delivers strike 1 to his former battery man. Twins took 2 out of 3 here, and then later the White Sox took 2 out of 3 at Target Field, and those 2 series kind of mirrored one another, with the visiting team winning games 1 and 3. Outside, 1-1.
Never quite understood why Mike Pelfrey didn't have more success coming back after that Tommy John surgery. He just looks like he has big league stuff, a really big moving fastball, a breaking ball, and a pretty good split finger that he's come up with.
And over the inside corner, 1 and 2.
And you can see that ball move right there. Started on the inside, tailed back over the inside corner. That's big league stuff right there. I mean, he's throwing 93, 92, 93, and you see the movement on that thing coming back. It didn't look like it didn't get all the way back on the corner. But that's what the Twins hitters will be dealing with.
And grounded up the line to Abreu. He scoops and runs to the bag. Mauer retired 1 away. And that'll bring up Polanco. Dan Bellino calling balls and strikes. Marvin Hudson is at first. Jerry Lane, the crew chief, at second. Toby Basner at third. 52 degrees here tonight at game time. You know, I think to echo what you were saying, fans, I think, were frustrated when Pelfrey was with the Twins because fans watched the game from the center field camera. And from the center field camera, it looks like he can't hit his stuff. But nevertheless, the results really weren't very positive for Mike. Delayed strike call to Polanco.
Well, the thing about Pelfrey's stuff is that he just doesn't get it low in the strike zone enough times. At least historically, that's been the case. And the frustration with fans and coaching staffs, his coaching staffs alike, is right like that. I mean, you just don't expect a guy with that good of stuff to miss as far off and as often as he did. And we all know he'd go 2-0 and 3-1. He'd walk somebody and pitch slow and walk around the mound.
Yep.
So if the Twins will just make him throw the ball in the middle of the strike zone, he will do that for you every time up. Don't swing at the stuff that's questionable. Don't get yourself out on balls in the corner. Go up there like it's 3-1 to get a fastball right in the middle of the plate and kill it. Anything else, just take it.
And now 3-1.
He'll do this a lot.
That said, whether it was with the Mets, Twins, the Tigers, now the White Sox, you won't find a more popular teammate in the clubhouse than Mike Pelfrey. Everybody loves the guy.
Yep.
3-1 to Polanco. Lifted and fouled on the left field line, 3-2. Full count to Jorge Polanco. Hit hard. Deflected by Abreu. He'll get the deflection, go to the bag for out number 2. So not Miguel Sano in the third spot tonight. Instead, it's Max Kepler. Sano serving the 1-game suspension for his situation that erupted, some would say provoked, by the Tigers a couple of weeks ago.
Well, tough to take this big bat out of the lineup. That's for sure. He has really started off with professional at bats, time in and time out. And you hate to see him miss any ball games, but certainly not for a reason like this one.
Very slow off-speed pitch to Kepler that drops over for a strike. 0-1. And now inside, 1-1. 3 starts for the Tigers, one of them, or excuse me, for the White Sox, one of them against the Tigers at the end of April. No wins, ERA of just over 5 as you saw. And now nearly hit him, 2-1.
Mac's been struggling just a little bit at the plate here lately, and we'll see if maybe Pelfrey can get Max swinging the bat well again. It's likely that Pelfrey will throw some low fastballs. Max is good down there. See if he can get one down in the strike zone and start hitting some line drives, get his confidence going a little bit.
It was 3-1 to Polanco. Now it's 3-1 to Kepler with Kenny Vargas on deck.
Did we say he's likely to go 3-1 on a few hitters?
On the ground sharply, scooped up by Frazier, the only infielder over there. Kepler, who's been shifted over the last few weeks, almost beat the shift, but instead 3 ground ball outs and a 1-2-3 first. White Sox at Target Field. The Menards batting order for Rick Renteria. Tyler Saladino, the leadoff spot. Then Melky Cabrera, Jose Abreu, Avisail Garcia, Todd Frazier, Matt Davidson, Tim Anderson, Omar Narvaez, and Willie Garcia.
Hector Santiago on the mound, as Dick said, for the Twins tonight against the White Sox team and organization to whom he came up out of the minor leagues to start his career, and he's always pitched very, very well against these White Sox.
First pitch up and away. Ball one. Just before the first pitch, the Twins shifted the infield with Adrianza swung way over, but Adrianza new to the ball club and had to get his attention from the dugout to get him to shift. 2-0. Santiago with a good start against the White Sox. 7 innings, 6 hits, no runs, 6 strikeouts, no walks. And now a strike, 2-1.
So the thing about Hector Santiago, the characteristic that makes him effective is his effective wildness in the strike zone.
High fly to short left. Polanco out, and now Rosario calls him off, makes the catch, 1 away. Northland Ford defense for the Twins. And Rosario is in left, Byron Buxton is in center, and Max Kepler is in right. Escobar at third, Polanco, Adrianza up the middle, Mauer at first, and Castro behind the plate.
Talking about being effectively wild, and what I mean by that is he's all over the place in the strike zone. So he's likely to be down at the knees, up at the letters, on the outside corner high and low, on the inside corner high and low. As a hitter, you just never know where that fastball is going to be.
If you could, you know, this is coming from somebody who's just watched a lot of baseball. If you could control the baseball, wouldn't the best approach be to hit the corners and move diagonally, change both inside, outside, and up and down on the next pitch?
Well, absolutely. And the key thing about pitching is he strikes out Melky Cabrera and check swing. The key thing about pitching is kind of what we call back and forth and in and out.
Right.
And back and forth is the change speed part of it, and the in and out is the corner. But with many pitchers, they are in a pattern. Sinker ball pitchers, you can walk up there as a hitter and say, I'm going to look for the ball down because that's where it's going to be, and it's going to be there a lot of the time. With Santiago, he doesn't have a pattern. He doesn't always know where that fastball is going, but he throws a lot of strikes with it all over the place.
Strike on the outside corner. He is 4-1 with an ERA of 1.40 against the White Sox, and the main reason is he's dominated the middle of the Chicago lineup. He knocks it down. He'll have time to recover and make the play. And a very quick 1-2-3 first inning for Hector Santiago. Thank you very much, Marty. And Kenny Vargas in the box to lead off the second, which should explain that Brian Dozier's not in the lineup tonight because his ankle is not quite 100%. Improving, but not quite there. 1-0 to Vargas. And now 2-0. Vargas's numbers, as we said in the open, very Sano-like. The batting average is almost the same. The home run rate is almost the same. And the RBI rate is almost the same. That's since his recall a few weeks ago. He was not with the Twins when the Twins played here in the first week of the season. A strike, 2-1. Now, if that is maintained by Vargas, it's going to be a pretty potent 1-2 or 3-4 punch in the middle of the Twins lineup. Slice to the left field corner and out of play.
Like Max Kepler, Case Vargas primarily a low ball hitter. He has trouble with the ball up in the zone. He especially has trouble up and in. And for a young hitter, even when you would seem like you'd have time to develop some different mechanics to handle different pitches, a lot of times what you're best able to do is pretty much set.
And Vargas gets a foul tip, but Narvaez hangs on, 1 down. Well, Hector Santiago couldn't have had a quicker first inning, and he came in and spent a lot of time talking to Neil Allen, who spent a lot of time listening.
You know, I don't know what that's about. The way Hector was gesturing there, it looked to me like he might be talking a little bit about that shift that was going on, and here's how I'm pitching, guys. And I don't, it may be that. It sure didn't look like it was specifically about pitching.
Here's Eddie Rosario. Santiago threw all of 9 pitches in that 1-2-3 first inning.
What I started to say about Kenny Vargas, though, is that he's a low ball hitter, and he's got to make up his mind. He's got 2 choices. He can either change his mechanics and his approach to learn to hit the ball up in the strike zone better, or he can just say, look, I'm a low ball hitter. I'm going to look for the ball down there. I'm taking everything else, anything above my zone, I'm just going to take until they force me to swing at it with 2 strikes. Why make an out on it or get myself in a hole? I mean, there's a lot of good reasons to take high fastballs. The umpire might call it a ball, and it might be a ball.
Foul back, 2-1. There's nothing wrong with recognizing what type of hitter you are, what your strengths are,
right,
and exploiting that rather than trying to change things.
Right.
Well, how you just described Vargas. Remember Oswaldo Arcia when he was here. He couldn't hit the high fastball,
exactly,
but he kept swinging it. Skied behind second base. Saladino giving way to Anderson. 2 down. With 2 down in the second, let's check in with Audra Martin and get the big story.
Well, guys, Mark Trumbo apparently likes the high ones. I mean, the really high ones. Last night, he smashed a home run on a pitch 4.62 feet off the ground. The highest pitch for a home run in the pitch tracking era. And up in Toronto, Kevin Pillar, well, he continues to amaze. His latest highlight reel grab, a full extension to rob Jose Ramirez of extra bases and to save a pair of runs as the Jays get the win over Cleveland.
That was one of the best catches I've ever seen a center fielder make, and one of the things that made it so great was his route efficiency. He went straight to the point of where he made contact and made the catch at the edge of the warning track. This to right center field, hanging in the air for Willie Garcia. And Pelfrey has another 1-2-3 inning in the second. The bullpen sprung a few leaks lately, but the reason the Twins are above the 500 mark are State Farm combination, because Hector Santiago and Irvin Santana have been outstanding so far for the Twins.
Boy, they sure have. They've given their ball club, their teammates, more than good chances to win every time they've gone out there. A little hiccup by Irvin on Sunday against the Red Sox, but he's been, up until Sunday, he's been nearly flawless.
So far, 9 up, 9 down, just 35 pitches thrown through an inning and a half. And Garcia, who will be followed by Frazier, lifts the first pitch foul.
This matchup of Santiago against the White Sox is really interesting to me tonight, because for the most part, the White Sox up and down the lineup have not been swinging the bat well. This guy right here, Avisail Garcia, is just on fire.
Ball hit to the second baseman, Adrianza.
Jose Abreu was.
One down. Let's go to Audra Martin.
Well, guys, it's time for our car soup scoop from the clubhouse. Paul Molitor talking to the media today about Miguel Sano's suspension. Says he doesn't agree with the decision, but has to respect it, of course. He says Miguel's handled the situation well, but feels that the half game he missed was enough given what happened with the Tigers a few days ago. Nick Tevish has had his bullpen session today and will get the start on Thursday, but Saturday's starter is still undecided. And as far as Brian Dozier goes, well, he continues to get better every day. But of course, keep in mind, they do lose a retroactive day from here on out. So Paul Molitor says they don't want to rush him, but there is a good chance that he will return at some point this series. Guys.
All right, thank you, Audra. Batter is Todd Frazier, 1 for 9 against Hector Santiago, and a check swing strike. And on other starting pitching news, Kyle Gibson starting tonight for Rochester. A couple of runs allowed in through 4 innings so far, making his first start for the Rochester Red Wings, 2-1.
What I started to say about Santiago against this White Sox lineup, he's always pitched really, really well against the White Sox, and everybody but Abreu and Garcia really not swinging the bats very well. So the first thing that I would say is, don't walk anybody. You pitch great against these guys. Don't walk anybody. Make them. They're not swinging the bat well. Make everybody hit to get on. And then secondly, Abreu and Garcia must not be the ones that beat you. Those are the only guys that are swinging the bats well right now. Interestingly enough, as well as Garcia's hit, he hit over 500 against left-handed pitching, but he's about 1 for 19 against Hector Santiago. So it's just going to be interesting to me to see how Hector goes at these guys.
High fly to deep left center field. Going back is Rosario, and making the catch on the warning track. A bid for a hit, a bid for a home run, but just a long second out.
So far, we've seen almost exclusively fastballs from Hector Santiago, and that's the way he pitches. His fastball is a real weapon because he hides the ball well. The ball gets on the hitters quickly, and as I said, the ball is moved all around the strike zone. When he gets in trouble, that moving it all around the strike zone becomes moving it all around just off the strike zone, and he'll start walking people and getting behind. But there you see it right there. The ball to Frazier was up in the strike zone. That one on the knees on the corner outside to Davidson.
1 strike. And now an awkward swing and strike 2.
So it's down and away, it's up and away. He'll come in. Sometimes it's all by design, and sometimes it's just because he's got pretty good control of the strike zone, but not in the strike zone. He just throws it in there.
1 and 2. Another fastball. White Sox came into this game hitting just 197 against the Twins, and Santiago's start certainly helped, giving up just 6 hits over 7 innings. 1 and 2. Swing and a miss. 6 up, 6 down for Pelfrey. 6 up, 6 down for Santiago. We're at a breakneck pace here on the south side of Chicago.
Michael Kadire and former general manager Andy MacPhail into the Twins Hall of Fame. Be part of the festivities when you win this auction package. Winner will receive 2 tickets to the Twins Hall of Fame breakfast event on Saturday, August 19th, honoring MacPhail and Kadire, a private meet and greet with Kadire, 2 field passes to the pregame ceremony inducting Kadire to the Twins Hall of Fame that evening, a Michael Kadire autographed baseball, and 2 tickets to the Twins versus Diamondbacks game that night. Seat locations subject to availability. Bidding begins at $400.
Jason Castro leading off the 3rd inning for the Twins. He'll be followed by A-Ray Adrianza and Byron Buxton facing Mike Pelfrey, who delivered strike 1 to Castro. And now outside 1-1. We've seen this so many times from Pelfrey while he was pitching in a Twins uniform. Cruising along, and then oftentimes the first base runner creates all sorts of problems. See if Castro can be that guy. It's 1-2.
So far, the first 2 pitches to Jason Castro are examples of why you think that Mike Pelfrey should win with that stuff. Good, hard, sinking fastball right at the knees. Follows that up with a split finger changeup that looks like a fastball, and then the bottom falls out of it.
1-2.
He just can't stay there as consistently. That's a good changeup. That fastball and that changeup, that split finger changeup right there, should get big league hitters out consistently. Starts up, looks like a fastball, bottom drops out of it. That's a good pitch, and he'll sail along for 2, 3, 4 innings and historically, and just not be able to throw strikes.
1-2. Very high. Hey, while we have a moment, we want to pass along a very happy 99th birthday to Marie Zeck of St. Paul, a loyal Twins fan watching tonight on her birthday. So, Marie, happy 99th birthday.
Happy birthday, Marie.
2-2. Castro takes one on the inside corner and has some difference of opinion with Dan Bellino. 1 away. See, there's a reason he's got. I mean, that's not even close to being a strike.
Yep, little cutter that he tried to get the inside corner and just and didn't. But it doesn't matter because it was called a strike.
See, umpire's missing that pitch off the plate on the outside corner, but right under his mask. Adrianza takes a strike. Adrianza 0 for 3 since being called up. His history is that of being a really good defensive player, but not as strong offensively. Up, and it's 1-1. Adrianza will be followed by Buxton. Adrianza, a switch hitter. And now missing inside 2-1. Twins even with the Indians in the loss column at 14. Indians have played 2 more games and won them, and so they have a 1-game lead on the Twins in the American League Central. White Sox playing 500 ball at 15-15. Strike 2. Pelfrey being given a generous inside strike zone to the left-handed batters.
Yep, the umpire seeing that ball tail back and is expanding the plate on the inside part to left-handers.
2-2. To the right side of Bray, who's being kept busy, flipping to Pelfrey, 2 down. And Byron Buxton will hit, but first a look at our Sanford Health injury report. Minnesota native Jake Petrichka's got a strained right lat. James Shields has the same injury. They're both on the 10-day disabled list. Zach Putnam with some elbow issues, and Nate Jones has been so good for the White Sox, also has an elbow issue.
Boy, the White Sox bullpen has been absolutely lights out. It's the best thing about their club so far early this season. They've got some guys that can flat rush it up to the plate out there. They've been very, very good.
That's the difference. Even though the Twins are marginally ahead of the White Sox have had very good relief work this year. And the Twins started out that way, but now the bullpen has had some issues, shall we say. 1 strike to Buxton. Told me before the game today all the headaches are gone. He's completely recovered from his head rattling experience in center field a few games ago. Foul back, and it's 1-2.
You got to give this young man credit. He's never seen a fence or never met a fence that he shied away from. He's running into fences way ahead of most guys you see out there in his young career. Terrific defensive play.
1-2 from Pelfrey to his former teammate Byron Buxton. Down and away. Mike Pelfrey's had 238 prior major league starts, and only 5 times has he sent down the first 9 batters. He's on the verge, perhaps, of doing that here tonight. 2-2 to Buxton. Checked his swing. 3-2. With Mauer on deck.
Surprised they didn't ask for help down the first base umpire. That's why he didn't swing it.
Buxton's drawn 9 walks with 81 at bats. And he fights it off, but the walks have come for the most part in the last couple of weeks when he started to figure some things out on the last road trip.
I was talking with Paul Molitor today about Buxton's approach to right center field, fastball to right center field approach, which has really allowed him to stay on the ball a lot longer.
And fouled away again.
And Paul said, you know, has worked real hard at it, and he took it out there, that approach out there in games, and they went for a week without any good result. And finally, as you called it down in Texas, he hit some balls to right field and got the feeling of what he was trying to do, and started getting a lot more confident in that approach.
3-2 to Buxton. Driven to the left field corner. Great at bat and an extra base hit. Buxton fought off some 2-strike pitches, worked the count full, and ended up hooking a double into the left field corner.
Yeah, what was special about that at bat was those foul balls where he was waiting a long time, fouling them off, and then getting a ball he can handle. And see, he's not setting up to pull that ball. He's setting up to hit the ball the other way, but then his just natural ability and quickness allowed him to drop the big end of the bat on it and hit the ball down the left field line. He never would have gotten to that pitch in the first month of the season, or 3 weeks, or whatever it was, before he started approaching the pitch more to right center, because he would not have fouled off those pitches before that one got there.
Here's Bauer with the speedy Buxton at second. Breaking ball in the outside corner.
You look at the pitches in this at bat, he got just about everything that Pelfrey can throw before finally getting one that he could handle. So he got a bunch of different speeds, he got a bunch of different trajectories, a bunch of different spots on the corners of the plate, but he fought it off until he got one he could handle. That's very encouraging.
1 strike. Grounder to the right side. Saladino gobbles it up from short right field. Buxton left the board, and Mike Pelfrey has 3 scoreless innings. You're watching Twins baseball, presented by State Farm. Presented by Northland Ford. Visit buyfordnow.com and your local Northland Ford dealer today. By Grand Casino. The best stories start here. And by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. We've got a scoreless game, and Hector Santiago getting a generous outside corner to Tim Anderson, leading off the third for the White Sox. Anderson, Narvaez, and Willie Garcia to hit against Santiago. That's a grounder foul, 2 strikes. White Sox coming into this game with having been swept by the Orioles. They had a 6-game winning streak in late April, but now they've lost 6 of their last 8. 0-2 to Tim Anderson. Strikeout prone, doesn't walk much, and he takes a ball. Anderson has just 3 walks and 115 at bats. Narvaez, the on deck hitter. There's another strikeout. 1 down here in the third. Let's check out the current bids for the broadcast auction. Guardians of the Infield, and that original artwork already is up to $5,000. And a home plate dinner with Tony Oliva is up to $1,500. And we encourage you to continue to bid or bid for the first time, with the money going to the Twins Community Fund. Those backpacks are kind of neat items too. 100 of them tonight and 100 of them again tomorrow at a buy it now price. Here's Omar Narvaez. Giovanni Soto had some issues with an elbow and it flared up again today. He was scratched less than an hour before game time, and Narvaez takes ball 1. One and one. Down and away. 2 and 1. And now 3 and 1. 29 pitches, 19 strikes for Santiago, and the White Sox have yet to get a base run. Popped up, backing out of play.
The biggest difference between Hector Santiago this year and last year with the Twins anyway, after being traded over, is his ability to stay in that strike zone. We're talking about him throwing it all over the strike zone, but when he gets in trouble, he just loses the strike zone. He gets behind, walks people, like he did there.
The White Sox have always had a wealth of left-handed starting pitching, and years ago Hector Santiago was one of the lefties. They hit John Danks. Sale was, I think, to show up the next year. And Santiago dealt to the Angels and then dealt to the Twins. And 78 games over 3 years with the White Sox on an 8-10 mark. Here's Willie Garcia, who will hit with a man aboard, and there is ball 1 inside. Just 4 games for Garcia. He was called up when the White Sox were in Minnesota. White Sox had an all Garcia outfield for part of that series. Avisail in right, Willie in center, and Lurie in left.
It made it a little easier on him.
Yeah, but my thought at the time was, thank goodness they weren't there on Jackie Robinson Day where everybody was wearing 42.
If the ball was hit up in the air, Garcia's after it. Doesn't matter what number he hit.
That's true. 1 and 1 to Willie. Liner over the head of Adrianza into right center field, and Narvaez goes to second. So now the White Sox have their first hit and a runner at second with 1 down. That'll bring up Tyler Saladino.
Pretty good hit right there by this particular Garcia. The ball out away from him. Goes right with it, hits back through the ball. Same direction where the ball was pitched. That's a good way to hit right there.
So each number 9 batter gets his team's first hit, and now Tyler Saladino will bat. Hit a fly ball to Eddie Rosario, his first time up. Pull shift on for Saladino with Adrianza on the left side of the infield. Saladino runs well. And the pitch is low, ball 1. Santiago, who started this inning, the threat of this inning, with a 1-out walk, now falls behind Saladino 2-0.
Yep, an example of when he gets in these little streaks, he just kind of loses the feel for his pitches and for the strike zone. That's what has gotten him in trouble in the past.
2-0 to Saladino. Driven to left, a base hit. Narvaez will be waved around third. He will score. And the throw coming to second base, and that is a good, smart play by Rosario, holding Saladino to a single. Nevertheless, it's an RBI single, and the White Sox have a 1-0 lead. We saw the same play in the last homestand, and Rosario threw to third, and that allowed the runner to advance to second base.
Yeah, this is a really, really good play. One of the best things that Eddie Rosario does is, as you see Saladino get a 2-0 fastball, he's sitting all over it. He's able to pull it in the left field corner. Rosario gets to the ball very, very quickly. It has a very strong, accurate, quick release arm. I think someone almost assuredly, certainly said something to Eddie last time about throwing the ball to second base on a play like that. Keep the double play in order, stay out of big innings.
There's Cabrera, and he takes ball 1. 1-0 Chicago, and a big threat here, and at least the Twins have this going for them. Look what the 2 through 5 batters for Chicago tonight have done historically against Hector Santiago. 6 for 60 with a 100 batting average. There's a fastball down the middle, 1-1. It isn't just Abreu or Frazier. It's 4 in a row that Santiago, frankly, has dominated.
Right, and that's why I was saying that. Just don't walk anybody and don't give anybody the gift of hitting 2-0 and 3-1. Saladino hasn't hit him well either, but he got 2-0, got to sit on a fastball and drove in the run.
Well, back now it's 1-2. And Melky Cabrera leading the Chicago team, having grounded into 4 double plays. One and 2 to Melky Cabrera. Throw to first. Saladino has a couple of steals, but he's been thrown out 3 times. The White Sox as a team have 9 steals, but 10 throwouts. One and 2 to Cabrera. Got him to wave at an off-speed pitch, 2 down. Second time that Melky Cabrera has struck out against Santiago.
And he looks totally uncomfortable up there against Santiago. Here goes to left field way early with his lower body. You can see him spin out, and then he's got nothing left for that outside breaking ball. That just doesn't look like a Melky Cabrera swing in any way, shape, or form.
Much damage as he did against the Twins last year. We haven't seen Cabrera with swings like that in a long time. Here is Abreu. Hit a hard one-hopper back to Santiago to wrap up the first inning. And a base hit to right. And it's 2-0 Chicago. Twins with a pull shift, and virtually the entire right side of the infield was wide open, but that was a bullet to Kepler. And Garcia scores to make it 2-0.
Almost no place you could play Abreu that would have resulted in out on this one. Again, great hitting. You see the extension going the other way with the ball in the outside corner. That's great hitting.
So in the inning, a walk, 3 singles, and a couple of Chicago runs. And now Avisail Garcia.
The thing I've noticed about Abreu over the years watching him, he's such a good hitter. One of the reasons why is much like Miguel Cabrera, he's willing to take what the pitcher gives him and get a base hit to drive in one run.
Change up and a swing and a miss.
Instead of trying to hit a 3-run home run there on a pitch, he wasn't going to be able to do that. It's really good hitting. You look at Hector Santiago's pitch count. Very, very good for the first 2 innings, and now his pitch count rising here as a result of this 3rd inning.
Chop foul, 0-2.
Nice adjustment being made right here by Jason Castro and Hector Santiago. Santiago's throwing a lot of fastballs. His plan is to throw a lot of fastballs. But against Garcia here with 2 guys on and 2 out, the first 2 pitches off-speed stuff gets him in a hole 0-2. So throw something different than what they've been seeing. Try to get him off the fastball a little bit. Nice adjustment there. See if they can pay it off.
Two strikes to Garcia. Way out in front of the changeup, and Santiago strands 2. But the White Sox score 2 to take the first lead. Tony for is memorable.
You bet.
White Sox take a 2-0 lead, and Jorge Polanco will lead off the 4th against Mike Pelfrey. Polanco takes outside, ball 1. Polanco, Kepler, and Vargas. And now 2-0.
See what the Twins can do here the second time through the lineup. We remember from watching Mike Pelfrey pitch all those years with the starts with the Twins. Trips through the lineup get progressively worse and have in the past in terms of Mike's ability to get through the lineup. So batting average goes up the second time and even further the third time. So about time for the Twins to start knocking the ball around the ballpark.
Slow breaking ball. He had one earlier at 69. This one clocked at 68 and clipped the corner.
Big dewdrop curveball right on the corner. Doesn't get any better than that pitch.
Fox stretch presented by Jeep. 2-2 to Polanco. That's up the middle and out of the reach of Anderson. A leadoff single for Polanco. The White Sox in full rebuild mode. Their 500 start, a surprise to many. But you look at their rotation with Pelfrey in it, Miguel Gonzalez in it. For a while, James Shields was in it before he got hurt. All pitchers that someone else gave up on with a lot of money left on their contracts. That really is an odd rotation they've had here in Chicago. Gonzalez released by the Orioles late spring training last year. Kepler thinks about bunting, takes a strike. Saw Abreu beat the Twins infield shift with a line drive single. More and more teams are lining up in a pull shift. Kepler, now he hit the ball sharply, and if Frazier were playing back then where he's playing now, he would have had a base hit.
Well, I'll tell you what, if they shifted me, everybody but one guy, and hit it right at that guy over there, I'd all that.
High and tight, 1-1.
I was talking with Paul Molitor today about bunting. Guys taking advantage of position. And look where Frazier was playing the hitters, the left-hand hitters. You see him so far off third, even though he's sort of in. There's just no angle for him. If you get the ball anywhere where the pitcher doesn't have to, can't field it, boy, that's a tough angle for Frazier to come in. If the ball's toward the line at all, and I don't mean on the dirt, just anywhere on the grass, away from the pitcher, that is a tough angle for a third baseman and to make any kind of play. Kepler had an idea, but he's not really committed to it. Doesn't really want to do that.
There goes Polanco. Pitch is called a strike, and Polanco's in with a stolen base. One of the issues that the Twins had when Pelfrey was pitching for them was the running game, and now they try to exploit that to their benefit here.
Got a pretty good pitch to throw, did the catcher, but didn't matter. Polanco stole that on the big leg kick and slow to the plate delivery on Mike Pelfrey.
I believe the count is 1-2. With a runner at second, nobody out. See what Kepler can get done here. And now 2-2.
Interesting situation here with a runner on second and nobody out. The general baseball handbook says you hit the ball on the right side and get the runner over. Even with a 2-0 deficit, get one in, get the runner over to third so you can score without the benefit of a hit. Paul Molitor doesn't always believe that that's automatic in this situation. He just wants the guy, his hitters, to get the runner over.
That's a base hit slash to the left side. Polanco around third. He'll come in and score, and Kepler's hit the ball hard twice to the left side of the infield. This time it went through.
Well, that's really nice hitting by Max with 2 strikes. The ball moving away from him. That sinker, running fastball, running away, and he didn't try to pull it, just went with it for the second straight at bat. Second straight hard hit ball. You watch this ball, wanted to come in, went up and away, and Matt just stayed with it. Look at how the big end of the bat is level with his hands. That's why Max has got such a great chance in this league, a great hitter in this league. That is some really nice mechanics and nice approach at that moving fastball to get the run in.
Kepler stolen a couple of bases in 2 tries. And Pelfrey checks him right away. Here's Vargas. Struck out to start the second inning, his first time up. Taking at the knees, strike 1.
Back to hitting with the runner on second base and nobody out. They even with a score tied and scored very close. Paul Molitor has told his guys, and he'll give the sign whether he wants him to do that or not, but so often he'll say trade places with the guy on second base, hit a double. Just get some big innings going. It's not automatic for Paul. He's going to have his hitters just give themselves up and hit the ball to the right side.
But now with 2 strikes, that changes your approach at the plate.
2 strikes,
too.
everything's off. You just do you battle it as best you can. Absolutely.
All 3 Twins hits in the game tonight have come with 2 strikes. One and one to Vargas, tying run at first, nobody out. A drive to right and drilled. Gone. A home run for Vargas, and the Twins take the lead.
That's what we were talking about earlier. What I really thought might happen with Kenny Vargas against Mike Pelfrey. Pelfrey wants to throw the ball down in the strike zone, not overpowering velocity, and if he gets one down where Kenny Vargas can get his arms extended, then he had a really good chance to have that happen. He got exactly the pitch that we're looking for. You see where this pitch is. It's going to be about mid-thigh high at contact. Kenny's just unloads on it.
Well, we saw it happen when Pelfrey was pitching for the Twins too. Given a lead, just like that, it's gone. In fact, the Twins have the lead. Outside now to Rosario, 1-0. Inning has started with a pair of hits and a long home run to the bullpen and right by Vargas. Rosario takes high, and it's 2-0. Absolutely confounded how Pelfrey could be so locked in.
Yeah.
We're getting 9 outs from 10 batters, and then it all just has blown up in his face again here in the 4th. Rosario takes a strike, 2-1. Twins have now hit a home run in 11 straight games. Swing and a miss, 2-2.
When you think about it, it's not all that confounding. It seems like it is, but think about how this happened. He just loses, Mike Pelfrey talking about, just loses command where he's throwing that good hard sinker. He's hitting the inside corner. He's keeping the ball down, and then all of a sudden,
Hopper to second. Saladino with the play, 1 away.
All of a sudden, he gets to Jorge Polanco gets 2 strikes, throws it up in the zone, and we're going to look at how the home run happy the Twins have been lately.
You're on the same chart with the Yankees. You're doing something right.
Yeah,
offensively,
these guys can hit the ball in the ballpark. And of course, it's led by Miguel Sano. If Sano hits a whole bunch of home runs, then the Twins are going to hit a lot of them, because up and down the lineup after Sano is probably a team lead, unless Brian Dozier challenges it. The rest of the team can hit the ball in the ballpark as well.
And as we said before, Vargas's numbers in terms of power, batting average, and run production about the same as Sano's. Now a couple of called strikes to Escobar.
But back to Pelfrey and how innings fall apart with him. He got Polanco with 2 strikes, and then threw him a high sinker that Polanco was able to muscle into center field. He had Kepler with 2 strikes. They're playing him way around a pull. Kepler's generally a pull hitter. If he throws the ball in the inside part of the plate or down, he's going to hit over the top of it, hit the ball to the right side. But he threw it up and away, and Kepler went the other way. And then he threw one right down the middle of Vargas, and all of a sudden the lead evaporates. It's 3-2. And that's has kind of been his MO the whole time. He just loses his ability to throw the ball where he wants to by about the 4th or 5th inning.
1-2 now to Escobar. And up and away and not close. Ron Coomer used to call it, I don't know that he coined the phrase originally, but he would call pitches like that non-competitive pitches. The hitter's not going to swing at that. It's just a wasted pitch.
Right. Coom called it non-competitive. I call it just kind of meaningless. It doesn't do anything to set up the next pitch.
Cabrera with a nice running catch on the warning track. He had a long run to get there and made the play 2 away.
There's a sound that big league hitters
115 miles per hour.
Oh my goodness. When the ball leaves the bat at 115 miles an hour, you can hear it all the way. You can hear that sound all the way up here. And he hammered that ball.
2 down now in the 4th. Twins in front, and here's Jason Castro. Took a called third strike his first time up. At the knees, a strike. Over to the Twins on deck, sir.
Look at Mike Pelfrey's pitch count by inning. The first 2 innings really pretty good. Got a little bit carried away in the 3rd and then lost it like that.
And hit Castro with a changeup or a breaking ball. So Castro will go to 3rd. Bring up Ray Adrianza. Adrianza here at the expense of Danny Santana, who was traded yesterday to the Atlanta Braves. Twins got he was in the minor leagues. He has some major league exposure, a left-handed relief pitcher. And he'll report to Rochester. Adrianza takes outside ball 1. The Twins had some time to trade Santana, or he would be sent through the waiver process. Kevin Chapman now property of the Minnesota Twins. You take exception to that as a former baseball player, that a player could be property of a team. Rolled to short, and Anderson fires to first. Good start to the 4th for the Twins. A single, a Vargas home run, and they're in front 3-2. Giving up a couple of 3rd inning runs, has a 1-run lead. Todd Frazier will lead off the 4th for Chicago. And Frazier takes low, ball 1. Frazier with a fly to left his first time up. And under his chin, 2-0. So Santiago's difficulty in the 3rd inning began. He just kind of lost his control, and eventually the White Sox took advantage and scored a couple of runs. He's got a lead, and he's fallen behind Frazier 2-0. 3-0.
Yeah, there's two ways to have examples of losing your control. One is walking guys, obviously, and the second way is almost equally bad, and that's going 2-0 and 3-1.
Now down the middle of strike.
Mike Pelfrey lost his control. He hadn't walked anybody yet, but
yeah,
2-0 and 3-1 gets to be a habit.
3-1 to Frazier. And a leadoff walk here in the fourth. Bring up Davidson. In support of Mental Health Month this May, Fox Sports Supports is proud to team up with NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, and its commitment to replacing stigma with hope and improving the lives of families and those affected by mental health conditions. Learn more about how to be stigma-free and visit foxsportssupports.com. Here's Davidson, struck out swinging his first time up. And a strike on the outside corner. Kyle Gibson's done for the night at Rochester. 6 innings, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, a walk, 8 strikeouts, 94 pitches, and a no decision. One and one. Santiago's got 3 ground ball double plays this year. 38 2/3 innings. Two and one. Swing and a miss on what might have been ball 3.
Yeah, much like Urban Santana on Sunday against the Red Sox. Santiago tonight just not quite as sharp as we've seen him command-wise, both with fastball and the changeup. He threw some good changeups to Avisail Garcia to get out of the last inning. Missing with the changeups here to Davidson.
Popped up, backing out of play. Davidson, pretty powerful bat in the Chicago lineup with 5 home runs. Inside now 3-2. But with the power, a lot of strikeouts. 62 at bats. Davidson and 24 strikeouts. And Santiago would like to get him here. Certainly doesn't want to walk him. Handle of the bat, a pitch up, foul back.
These White Sox hitters so far this year not swinging the bat well for average up and down the lineup, with the exception of Garcia and Abreu lately. And a lot of strikeouts, a lot of guys on pace to strike out from 125 to 150 times.
Runner goes on the pitch, line to Mauer softly. It'll be a double play. Frazier took off on the 3-2 pitch, and it's an easy double play, 2 down. Bring up Tim Anderson.
Good ball right off the end. Fortunately, right at Joe. Nothing Frazier could do about it as he was off with the pitch.
And now Anderson has struck out swinging his first time up. For Anderson, the 30th strikeout in 116 at bats. Drilled to left. Rosario there. And Santiago pitches around the leadoff walk and faces just 3 men. Both of them human, enjoying a good night at the ballpark. Twins fans bringing a dog to the ballpark. Byron Buxton leading off the 5th against Mike Pelfrey. Buxton hooked a double into the corners last time up. Takes a breaking ball, ball 1.
A lot of times you can tell how a hitter is seeing the ball, how he's feeling the plate by the pitches he takes, even more so than his swings. That take right there on the breaking ball, we've seen Byron swing and miss an awful lot of. And he took that one like he saw it really, really well. Saw it early.
Hit it hard but foul.
And I noticed that when he started believing in that right field approach, I saw it right away. The breaking balls that he was swinging and missing for so long, he was taking like he absolutely saw them early. You could really tell.
Fouled off a leg, and it's 1-2.
And when I say it is right field approach, that doesn't mean that I want him to be a slap hitter right, or the Twins want him to slap the ball to right field. It's just a question of watching. If you try to hit the ball to right center as a right-hand hitter, you have to let the ball get back over the plate farther to make contact with him, and that consequently you watch the ball longer. See right there, that ball right there. How many times have we seen him with 2 strikes head back to the dugout after swinging and missing out by a foot and a half? He's just seeing the ball better. He's waiting, so he's going to hit to right field, and now he sees that.
Popped up weakly near the Twins dugout, and Narvaez makes the play. So far, Buxton has had 7 swings, 6 fouls, one of them for an out here, the double, so no swings and misses for Byron tonight. 1 down, and that'll bring up Joe Mauer. And
getting jammed right there with 2 strikes, I mean, that's okay. That's going to happen as a hitter sometimes. You have to be willing to let a pitcher run the fastball in on your hands and get beat on that and get jammed. Because if you can't get jammed, if your bat head's out in front all the time, you're not going to be a good hitter. You're just not going to hit enough pitches. You have to be willing every once in a while to say, okay, you just beat me in there. I had to wait and see the ball.
Off-speed pitch over for strike 1.
So even that at bat, which seems like a failure of Byron's popping that ball up weakly with 2 strikes, being willing to be jammed there, that's still progress.
And now 1-1.
And I will tell you this: there'll be times when Byron's trying to set up to hit fastballs to right center field, and someone's going to hang him a breaking ball in the middle of the plate, and it's going to go 9 miles to left field in the seats.
Jennings warming up in the Chicago bullpen. The outside corner, 1-2. Twins went single home run to start the 4th inning to take the lead, and haven't had a hit since against Mike Pelfrey. Driven to right, deep, and off the base of the wall. Mauer will go to second with a 1-out double. Well, Joe pulling the ball sharply to right field. And with Avisail Garcia playing in right center, it took him a while to get there.
Well, Pelfrey tried to throw Joe a changeup. You're not going to ever get Joe out with a changeup. You're just not. He waits too long, sees the ball, and look at his head down. And you can draw a line right from his chin down, right down through the back of his leg, which is perfect.
And a couple of balls that in the summertime might have traveled out of the ballpark, including Mauer's drive back in the 2nd inning. Frazier hit one to left center field that on a warmer day might have gone out.
Like Joe got over the top of that just a little bit of overspin. But you're right, on a normal day here, that ball still might have gotten out of here.
And Polanco shuffles his feet, takes another called strike.
Well, this is just so beautiful. Look at this, his head down and this line right down through his body. That's how you use your legs. You keep your head on the ball. You get extension. That's beautiful.
2 strikes to Polanco. Kepler will follow. And to short right, coming in is Garcia, and he makes the catch. Out number 2. We'll leave this 5th inning rally, if you will, to Max Kepler. Singleton scored his last time up.
Well, in the same way with Kenny Vargas, see if Pelfrey try to get the ball down here to Max Kepler and get a ground ball, which is what Mike wants to do, and plays into Max Kepler's strength. So see if Max can get a ball and kind of need a thigh high in the middle of the plate and do something with it too.
Takes down and away, ball 1. Given Vargas's splits, you wonder whether this might not be the end of the road for Pelfrey. Either gets Kepler or Jennings might come in to pitch to Vargas, because Kenny's been much more effective as a left-handed batter. And a strike. 1-1. Kepler's hit the ball sharply on the ground to the left side twice, once for a hit. Inside under his arms. 2-1.
That's an effective pitch right there to a left-handed hitter. If you can throw it up into his elbows like that and then get back down, the sinker back down in the strike zone, moving away, that can be very, very effective. But you have to be able to command that fastball. Once you throw it up in there, you have to be able to get right back down in the strike zone again.
And now 3-1. Vargas on deck. Twins have 1 2-out hit tonight. That was Buxton's double in the 3rd. Don Cooper, the pitching coach. 3-1 to Max Kepler. And he takes a strike.
That's a good take right there by Max. That's not the pitch he wants. He doesn't want the ball up there. 3-1, looking for the ball much lower than that. There's a moving fastball at the upper limit of the strike zone. That's not what Max wants. He might have to be forced to swing at that now, but 3-1, he didn't want that.
27 called strikes tonight by home plate umpire Dan Bellino.
Yeah, that's a big zone.
Kepler fouls it to the screen. 27 called strikes for Mike Pelfrey only. He's thrown 59 strikes, and most of them, almost half of them, I guess, have been called third strikes or called strikes.
Twins left-hand hitters have a little trouble with Pelfrey's movement on his fastball, actually.
3-2 to Max Kepler. Just missed inside, and Kepler will take a walk. Vargas will hit, but who against? They're not going to tempt fate again. Rick Renteria, with Pelfrey approaching the 100 pitch count, come out and bring in the left-hander Jennings to face Vargas.
Close pitch right here. Not as close as I thought it was live. It was a sinker. He tried to front door there, bring it back on the corner on the inside, wasn't able to do it.
So Jennings will turn Vargas into a right-handed batter when we come back. Winning the Twins down 2-1 until Kenny Vargas cranked one out, his 4th of the year.
Been swinging the bat very, very well as a left-handed hitter. We'll see. Now he has to turn around and get his other helmet. Turn around the other side of the batter's box. See what he can do right-handed against this left-hander.
Veteran Dan Jennings will come in to try to keep this a 3-2 ball game. Jennings has done fine with an ERA of 3.38. And the Chicago bullpen's been very, very good. They've had some injury issues out there, but you can see the White Sox with a 2.10 earned run average. Ball near the on-deck circle for the White Sox. That had to be retrieved. Those were our cold hard facts brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. Two on, 2 out, and Vargas at the plate. Up and away, ball 1. Sometimes there's switch hitters, and I don't know whether it was your experience or not. It's a seasonal thing where one year you hit better from one side of the plate and the next year you hit better from the other side of the plate. So far this year Vargas has been much better, handful of at bats, but much better from the other side. Big swing and a foul off his front leg, and he'll try to walk it off. 1-1. Is that your experience?
You know, I had similar experiences. We watched the swing here. Big cut, hits over the top of it, drives it right in above his shin guard. I used to do that a lot. That is painful. But my experience was I was a better hitter left-handed most of my career than right-handed, but I would seasonally get better right-handed.
Look at this. Vargas was just as effective from the right side as he is from the left side this year. And left-handed last year he didn't do much, and this year he's off to a great start.
Well, that's encouraging because he tends to be better left-handed. He's only had 12 at-bats as a right-handed hitter, so the numbers, the small sample size.
2-1 now to Vargas.
One of the reasons he hasn't had as many at-bats as right-handed is because Robbie Grossman has been so good right-handed against left-handed pitching.
He had a 5 RBI game in the homestand and make a call here. I think he's got 3 more coming in this at bat.
Wow. Join the ranks of Twins switch hitters, go deep from both sides.
And he's got a favorable count now, 3-1. Rosario in the on-deck circle. Spot for Vargas.
Yeah, he needs what hitters just call keyhole here. Get real small target right in the middle of the zone, exactly where you want it. Make the ball be right there.
High chopper over the mound, and a long throw to first. Got him. Vargas chopped one over the mound, but not into center field, and the Twins strand 2. Well, thank you, Marnie. Omar Narvaez will lead things off for the White Sox in the 5th, taking up high and inside, ball 1. It was Narvaez drawing a 1-out walk in the 3rd, followed by 3 singles that got the White Sox on the board twice. And Santiago falls behind again, 2-0. On the ground. Polanco scoops and fouls. Over the Mauer, 1 away. Twins in front, 3-2, and now let's get caught up. Thanks to Toyota.
White Sox struck first. Hector Santiago with a little wildness, walked a single, and then a Tyler Saladino single, and then a Jose Abreu single, and that would get them 2 runs. But Max Kepler comes right back with runners on first and second, drives in Jorge Polanco, and then Kenny Vargas drills one.
Santiago misses, ball 1 to Willie Garcia, who singled to right his first time. White Sox have taken 2 walks. All 3 hits for the White Sox came in the 3rd inning. Snap bat, a weak little pop-up, and Adrianza fields it with the business end of the bat, ending up between the mound and third base, 2 down. Bring up Tyler Saladino.
Yeah, that's deep in there.
That can't feel good on a night like tonight, and it never feels good.
It never feels good. It doesn't feel good physically. It doesn't feel good psychologically. And on a cold night like this, it feels doubly bad both ways.
Here's Saladino, an RBI single. Last time up, 1 for 2. And he falls behind Saladino. He's not conducting business the way you'd like to with a 1-run lead.
No, this is just the way it can be with Hector every once in a while. And just fight the strike zone a little bit. And it's such a fine line with him because, as I mentioned, his effectiveness is being wild all over the strike zone. And it doesn't take much when a guy is around the perimeter of the zone all the time when he's effective. It doesn't take much where he's just off.
Pressing inside, 3-0 with Cabrera on deck.
And again, it's not just he may or may not walk Saladino, but it's not just that. It's giving Saladino a chance to potentially hit 3-1.
There's a strike with the fastball.
So Saladino's seen a lot of pitches. He's seen his fastball. 3-1 counts, a fastball count. He's not going to be fooled much by a fastball.
Ball back now, 3-2. See, the pitch count's still good. Just the 70th pitch of the night for Santiago, and if it's a good one, he'll have wrapped up 5 innings. To center field. Buxton streaking in and putting it away. Rosario will pick up his cap. A 1-2-3 5th inning, and you're watching Twins baseball, presented by State Farm. selling brand in the Twin Cities. And by State Farm. Combine auto and renters and see how much money you can save. Now, he probably won't remember this night at the ballpark when he's an adult. When do you remember first going to see a baseball game? Rosario will lead off the Twin sixth. A big league game.
Boy, what a great.
You never saw your dad play, did you?
Yeah, well, when I was 5, 6 years old in Philadelphia, when my dad was finishing up his career with the Phillies, and I have vague memories of the day game in Connie Mack Stadium.
Rosario rifles a shot to center field. Base hit to start the 6th inning. Lefty against lefty, and Rosario won the battle.
Yeah, Eddie Rosario is not all that uncomfortable against left-handed pitchers. He's one of the better left-handed hitters against left-handed pitchers. Give you a good at bat most of the time, unless he's swinging at a ball over his head or 58-footer. But if he makes the ball be in the strike zone, he's pretty good against left-handed.
So what, if anything, Escobar's asked to do other than swing away here? Much better right-handed so far this year than the left side. So you have vague memories of seeing your dad running around on a baseball field.
Yes, vague. And then, of course, when I was a little bit older than that, going to Dodger Stadium. First of all, the Coliseum, I remember Wally Moon, the moon shots in the old Coliseum in L.A. That was when I got to be about 8 years old. So I guess that would be some of my first real strong memories.
Outside to Escobar, ball one. Escobar with a fly to center and a foul out to left. Twins playing tonight without both Brian Dozier, ankle still a little sore, and Miguel Sano serving a 1-game suspension. And chopped up the line foul. 1-1. Sounds like a cliche, but my first memory of a major league game was at Met Stadium, and I had just seen some games on TV, on a black and white TV. So my everlasting memory is how green the grass was. And a lot of people had that experience in that era. 1-1 to Escobar. Twins trying to expand a 3-2 lead. Low, 2-1.
In 1959, I was in Minneapolis. We lived in we rented a house in Litchfield. My dad played for the Minneapolis Brewers.
Oh, he did. Okay.
Played for my uncle Gene Mott at that stadium before it became a big league ballpark. I have vivid memories of that. We'd go to the ballpark every day with my dad and my uncle.
2-1, and Escobar hits it a long way foul. 2-2. So your dad played for his brother-in-law. Is that right?
Exactly right.
Okay.
And before they were, the reason they became brothers-in-law is because on the 48 Cubs, my dad was a shortstop and his roommate was the second baseman, his double play partner, Gene Mott. And Mock's sister came back to visit her brother and introduced to his roommate, and there you go.
2-2 to Escobar. You saw Swarzak warming up in the White Sox pen. Escobar to right center field. That'll find some grass. Down for a hit. Rosario to third. And Escobar will hold up with a single. And the Twins have something started here in the 6th. First and third. Nobody out.
Good jump by Eddie Rosario. Good read on that. It wasn't terribly difficult to know that was going to be dropped in front of the right fielder out there. But a good job nonetheless getting to third base. And good two-strike hitting here by Eduardo Escobar. Waiting on the ball, fisting it into right center.
So now Castro on a big at bat here. Twins have had the lead since the 4th inning. Had a chance in the 5th to add to the lead. Now first and third, nobody out. Castro called out on strikes in the 3rd and then hit by a Pelfrey pitch in the 4th.
I think it's important for the Twins to cash in at least this runner on 3rd this inning. Try to but to have a big inning. We've talked about how good the White Sox bullpen has been, and those guys out there are getting loose.
Don Cooper will come to the mound after seeing Jennings' first fastball nearly hit Castro again on the leg. Chris Beck joining Anthony Swarzak. Swarzak has been just about unhittable, literally unhittable. He's been outstanding for the White Sox. And for those of us who enjoyed Anthony's Twins career and his willingness to take the ball, and maybe when some others wouldn't, we're happy to see that. 3 hits allowed in 14 2/3. And just 1 walk, 17 strikeouts. So he may be the guy asked to put out the fire here in the 6th inning. 1-0 to Castro.
I was talking before the game with Steve Stone, the White Sox television, longtime television color analyst, and he said there's somebody else wearing Anthony Swarzak's uniform. He's throwing 96 miles an hour, and 96 is about the slowest, the lowest velocity out of that bullpen after Jennings here. They parade guys in here throwing 100.
1-0 to Castro. 2-0. Rosario at third. White Sox playing the middle infield back. They'd like to exchange a double play grounder for a run here. Castro trying to get it to the outfield. Lifted foul, 2-1. One-out double and then later a walk in the 5th, but couldn't get a 2-out hit when they needed it. 2-1 to Castro. Strike up and away. It's 2-2. Another called strike.
For the most part, you need to be swinging up there with Mr. Bolino's strike zone. All right.
2-2. Tap to the right side. Rosario bluffing. And all that will really happen is Castro will be retired and Escobar goes to second, 1 away. When we have a moment, let's update our bids and encourage you to keep bidding. $5,200 for the artwork, the VIP package going for a nice price, and dinner for 8 with a visit by Tony Oliva up to $2,000. And again, keep bidding. Proceeds going to the Twins Community Fund. Surprised they don't have the infield in here for Adrianza. They're giving the Twins an RBI here. There's only 1 out. Instead of having the infield in, just the corners are up.
Yeah, I think they don't want to give up 2. That's the main thing there.
Adrianza with a safety squeeze attempt. No swing. They appealed to first base umpire Marvin Hudson, and it's 1-0. That's something I like to see. Sometimes a hitter runs out of the box like that, it tends to be called a strike, but watch the bat. He never jabbed at the ball. Just pulled it back.
Pulled it back. It's the right call.
1-0. Adrianza with a bouncer to first and a bouncer to short. Two and 0. Jennings fell behind Castro, ended up getting him on a ground ball. Adrianza 0 for 2 as a left-handed batter. First at bat tonight from the right side. High chopper over the glove of Abreu, and it will score 2 runs. Fumbled in right field by Garcia, and Adrianza will go to second. A big 2-run single by Adrianza. The Twins lead at 5-2. An error charge to Garcia, allowing Adrianza to go to second.
Great way for this young man to get his first hit as a Twin. Drive in 2 really big runs. Ball's away from him, goes the other way. Got break from the hard dirt out in front of home plate. Ball bouncing over Abreu's head.
With the right hand hitting Byron Buxton up. Guessing it'll be, no, it's not Swarzak. It's going to be Beck who's going to be called in here, with the Twins leading 5-2.
And Twins fans, don't forget at Twins home games, bring your Circle Me signs. If you get circled, you may find yourself in the Minnesota Lottery Winner's Circle, where you could win $100 worth of lottery scratch-off tickets, courtesy of the Minnesota Lottery.
Next homestand will feature the very good Colorado Rocky team and then the not-so-good Kansas City Royal team. Chris Beck in. He'll pitch to Byron Buxton. Runner at second and one down. Buxton with a double his first time up, fouled out to the catcher his second time up. Squaring the bunt. I thought I heard contact. The ball one. Paul Molitor's got his foot out of the dugout. I think they're going to take a look. I thought I heard something. Buxton didn't react like he got hit. I could have sworn I heard something.
Yeah, it sounded like it might have gotten a uniform top or something. Like it might have brushed his uniform or something. I thought I heard a little click, click myself. Yep,
Oh.
Right there. It looked to me like right there on the
stomach of his jersey.
Yep.
Yeah. You can see it kind of billow, but the Twins won't challenge it. Let's take a listen again. Just a click, click.
Click, click.
1-0. Buxton takes 2-0. So I'm glad that happened, because ever since they started replay, I've always thought about game 163 where Brandon Inge was almost the exact same thing, and it would have cost the Twins a run and the game as it turned out, but there was no replay back then. 2-0 to Buxton. And a base hit center field. Adrianza around third. He is coming home, and another bobble in the outfield, and Buxton gains second base easily.
Don't bobble it with Byron Buxton running. Don't even think about it. That means another base.
Another run for the Twins. Another error by Willie Garcia in center. Buxton chipped his bat, hit it right off the end, but he has 2 hits tonight.
The one thing Byron Buxton does really well is get extension through the hitting zone. And when he's waiting back the way he is, just long enough on that breaking ball, he gets it into the outfield, and only a slight hesitation there around first base, and then that acceleration. And
now Mauer 1 for 3. And First pitch strike.
And I was going to say I didn't have a chance to, but after the ball one to Buxton, when he squared as if he was going to bunt for a hit, I really don't like that play with the runner on second base. I'm glad he didn't bunt that ball. You're glad that you have a replay. I'm glad that he didn't bunt that ball because I wanted him to have to take a shot at driving in that run and not bunt him over. Sure enough, he drove it in.
Second and nearly thrown into center field. And in retrospect, it was good that the Twins didn't challenge the hit by pitch.
Right.
Andy Buxton knew he was going to get a base hit. He didn't want to take first base. One strike to Mauer. Doubled his last time up.
You get a runner out there in scoring position. That's your run for you to drive in for your team right there. You don't want to bunt and leave it to the next guy. You go ahead and drive it. Just take 2 shots at it.
Now a ball. Let me ask you, when you see that, when you're a hitter, you ended up being a veteran, but particularly when you're a young player, does that change your at bat, having somebody in scoring position in terms of the pressure you feel to produce?
I think as a young player, oftentimes guys have that on their minds. You learn to get over that pretty quickly if it is. You got to
line to left and down for a hit. Buxton to third. They're waving him around. There won't be any stop signs with him.
Probably.
And another run for the Twins, and so far a 4-run inning. The Twins busting it open here in the 6th. Without the home run, just a sequence of singles.
A whole bunch of really good at bats. That's a really nice thing to see this inning. Of course, Joe, with that really easy, you throw him the fastball down the middle, and just Buxton gets a nice read right there. Just making sure again where the left fielder is playing. It almost doesn't matter if there's a ball hit to the outfield with him on second base. It would be a rarity that he's not going to score.
And now here's Polanco. The dirt, ball 1.
So love to see home runs. Twins have been hitting a bunch of them. Vargas with a big home run put the Twins ahead tonight. But this inning, as satisfying for a manager and a hitting coach. Watching it up and down the lineup, guys having really nice at bats, one right after the other.
So far, 4 runs in the inning, still only 1 out. Check swing. Ooh. Kobe Basner said he went. It's 1-1. Swing, is it?
No, you know, it looked bad. The bat traveled further than it would have had he not had to slide his back foot out of the way from getting hit. I think it looked bad, but I don't think that was a swing.
To the right field corner, another hit. Mauer around second. On his way to third, Polanco to second base, and he's in with a double, the first extra base hit of the inning. The 6th hit overall. And that'll bring up Kepler with 2 men in scoring position.
Got a ball in the middle of the plate here. Little hanging breaking ball. Put a really nice swing on it. Those are the pitches right there in the major leagues that you have to hit in order to be able to hit in the big leagues. Hitting's hard, and pitchers are good, and they'll throw you some nasty stuff that's hard to hit. But when you get a pitch like that, the difference between really being successful and not is whether or not you hit that ball hard rather than fouling it back or popping it up. When you get a pitch like that, you got to do what Polanco just did.
Infield halfway in here. Kepler with a swing and a miss, 1 strike. Kepler drove in the first Twins run with a single in the 4th, then walked in the 5th. 11 hits for the Twins. 6 of them this inning against the vaunted Chicago bullpen. Kepler swings and misses 0-2. Have a ways to go here, but they'd like to put together a big number against the Chicago bullpen, like the Red Sox put up a big number against the Twins bullpen on Sunday. 0-2 for the Twins right fielder. Three pitches, three fastballs, and Kepler strikes out. 2 down, ninth man to bat is Vargas. Vargas struck out in the second. 2-run home run in the fourth, and he hit a ground ball to second in the fifth. On the outside corner.
You see the catcher Narvaez there where he wants that fastball. Back with a pretty good fastball, 94, 95. This catcher wants it up and in. I mentioned that Vargas is primarily a low ball hitter. It gets around the league. People start, now he wants the ball down. He's going to throw him a breaking ball.
0-2.
So fastballs high, preferably in, and then change ups and breaking balls down, below the strike zone.
Back blew Kepler away. Now he's trying to put Vargas away.
Wants a high fastball.
Vargas took it down the middle. So the Twins score 4 on 6 hits and now lead it 7-2. Here at 7-2, and Hector Santiago's gotten ahead of Melky Cabrera very quickly. 0-2, missing inside. Cabrera struck out twice against Santiago, and he's 2 for 19 against him. Popped up. Foul ball over the Twins dugout and out of play. Now, Santiago had problems throwing strikes over the last several innings. Immediately upon taking the mound, he's just had to sit down for 21 minutes while the Twins were hitting, and he's thrown 4 pitches, 3 strikes.
Well, that may have helped him. Innings were going by fairly quickly before, but that didn't prevent him from losing his feels. And now all of a sudden he looks like he has a little bit better feel for it, at least against Cabrera. But I think this is a very, very important inning for Santiago. He needs to get to the 6th inning for his ball club. Give him at least 6 innings.
Cabrera chases upstairs, fouls one back, still 2-2. Abreu and Avisail Garcia will hit next.
Even though it's 7-2, you just wanted every chance you get to shorten the amount of time the bullpen arms have to be in the game is important.
Tap to Mauer, flip to Santiago, 1 away. Santiago's had another good night so far against his former team.
Well, he does battle, and even when he loses control of the strike zone a little bit, he's still trying to come at the hitters. He works quickly, throws different kinds of pitches, whatever he can think of to throw up there and battle against hitters and keep his team in the game. It's been kind of a characteristic of Hector Santiago so far this season. And battled his way through some wildness, and now he's 2 outs away from a really, really nice start.
Abreu picking up his RBI pace, drove in a run with a single his last time up. It's always nice to see him with the bases empty. 1-0. A 2-0. The White Sox have just 3 hits. Santiago has retired 15 batters. 3-0.
Well, interestingly, all of their hits, I think, have come with men on base when Santiago's been in the stretch position, and that's why it's so important not to walk people. Just throw your good stuff in there. There we go.
Santiago with a 4-pitch walk to Abreu, and that'll bring up Garcia. Garcia 0 for 2, 2 for 18 against Hector Santiago, but he's done a season's worth of damage already against the Twins with 11 hits. He's spread them out in terms of where the pitches were thrown and what he's done with them.
Well, he's become the hitter, at least so far this season, that people thought that he was going to be. Big, strong man. Ball jumps off his bat. He's hitting the ball to all fields here this year early on, and really off to a good start.
Ball 1.
And just incredibly, I mean, he's hitting over 500 against left-handed pitching. He's 2 for 17, 2 for 16 coming into the ball game against Hector Santiago. 0 for 2. He's now 2 for 18.
1-0. To center, but Buxton waits. Makes the catch 1 away. Or excuse me, 2 away. We'll bring up Todd Frazier. Frazier off to another slow start. He did not hit for much of an average last year. Hit for some power, of course. Said when we've done the earlier White Sox games, the White Sox in full rebuilding mode, but not really, because of veterans like Melky Cabrera and Todd Frazier and Dave Robertson and Jose Quintana. We have 1 trip left to Chicago here, and it will be in the 3rd week of August, and it's anybody's guess whether any of the players like Frazier, Cabrera, Robertson, and Quintana will still be here then. 1 strike to Frazier, and not close. 1-1. I think it's safe to say the White Sox are kind of caught in between right now.
Right. No question that they are.
in that sense, should we be surprised that they're playing .500 baseball? Because the full rebuild really hasn't started yet. When they call somebody up from Charlotte to take over at third base for Frazier, if that happens, and if somebody else is in left field instead of Melky Cabrera, if that happens, then they'll be in full rebuild mode. Inside, and it's 2-2.
Well, to your point earlier, it's funny to be in even somewhat rebuild mode and know that you're trying to get there eventually and have the older pitching staff, the starting staff that you have. That doesn't happen a lot.
Popped up, looks to be playable from Mauer near the bag. He stepped on the bag, stayed with it, and a hitless 6th inning for Hector Santiago, and a 7-2 lead for the Twins.
And a good start for Kenny Vargas. It bombed into the right field seats and put the Twins up 3-2 in the 4th inning. And then in the 6th for the Twins, a whole bunch of really good at-bats for hitter after hitter in the Twins lineup. They threw a big number up there. Twins now up 7-2.
We head to the 7th inning. Twins playing tonight without Brian Dozier, whose ankle is still not 100%, without Miguel Sano, who had to leave the field. Can't be in the clubhouse or the dugout during the game because of his 1-game suspension. Now, I invited Miguel to come up here. He's looking for a place to watch the game. We got a pretty good view, and I thought could even fill in for me. Broadcast 3 innings. He could do worse than seeing the game from where we're watching it, right?
He would at least could have added some interesting color to the to our broadcast here with what he knows about the game. And maybe he knows why and how he can hit the ball as hard and far as he can. I don't think he does. I think guys like that are special talents, and he can just do things that most of the rest of us can't do.
2 strikes to Rosario, and he taps one and tops it back to the mound, 1 away.
Gene Mauch said about Reggie Jackson one time, he just plays in smaller ballparks than the rest of us are playing, and that's the way Miguel Sano is. Every ballpark he plays in is smaller than the ones that most everybody else is playing.
1 down, and now Eduardo Escobar. Well, you never played in this ballpark, but what was the old Comiskey Park like?
Cavernous from left center to right center. But I liked playing there. I liked the history. The ball would go out of the ballpark to straightaway pull fields. Infield was really good. That famous Roger Broussard, the groundskeeper.
Yeah,
just beautiful.
You're talking about the current groundskeeper's father, right? Going back because
no, this is the current groundskeeper.
Okay, because I talked with him briefly today.
He was a young kid. His father taught him. Father was in Cleveland. Gene
hooked to the corner and fouled by about 4 feet.
Taught him how to take care of infield dirt. I'm going to tell you, that was fun to play on.
Here they call him the sod father.
That's great. I like that. But yeah, Comiskey was kind of like Tiger Stadium in the way the outfield was. They had a upper deck that was in right field that was reachable. Went up there a couple of times, made you feel like you were more like Miguel Sano than you really were.
1-1 to Eduardo Escobar with one gone, top of the 7th. Out of left field, and Melky Cabrera hardly has to move. 2 down. Hey, we want to bring you some baseball news, which I'm thrilled about. Congratulations to Emma Charlesworth Seiler, the Hopkins High School graduate. She went to Hamlin University, and she has been hired as a professional umpire and is being assigned to the Gulf Coast League. And there are, I believe, now 2 women umpires in professional baseball, and it's just got to be a matter of time before an accomplished minor league umpire who happens to be a woman is going to get brought up to the big leagues. I hope that happens very soon. I hope it happens to Emma.
Yeah, that's congratulations to Emma. That's terrific. There's absolutely no reason in the world why a woman can't be a terrific umpire and big league umpire. No reason at all.
Pam Postema got as far as AAA about, what, 25, 30 years ago.
Plus, I mean, can you imagine what an advantage she would have as an umpire? I mean, I'm not going to win an argument.
That was Roy Smalley. The Twins go down 1-2-3 in the 7th.
I'm just saying.
You by T-Mobile. Mark Reynolds may have been the free agent signee of the year. The Rockies got him for something like $1.5 million. He's hitting well over 300 and now 12 home runs. Carlos Correa, 4th home run of the season for the Astros. And Eric Thames, pretty good free agent signee himself.
Carlos Correa heating up is only a matter of time. Got off to a slow start, but that young man can hit. He's some kind of good player.
And Hector Santiago still out there. Pitches in the 7th inning. The first pitch to Matt Davidson is over for a strike. Santiago completed 7 innings against the White Sox in the middle of April. He's gave him a no decision for that. Here he's in position to pick up win number 4. Strike 2. No activity in the bullpen. That pitch 90 miles per hour. Replacing that is the pitch count. That also 90 for Santiago. Anderson and Narvaez will follow. Twins got Santiago from the Angels for Ricky Nolasco, who pitched a good ball game, his best game for the Angels last night. And Alex Meyer, who is starting for them tonight. Meyer's already been touched for an early 2-run home run. On the ground, Twins shifting Polanco there. Over to Mauer, one away.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Minnesota Twins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Minnesota Twins, LLC.
Now Tim Anderson. White Sox came into this game hitting just 197 against the Twins, and Santiago has stifled them again here tonight so far. Breaking ball inside. Anderson with a strikeout and a liner to left. Belt high strike, another called strike.
Home plate umpires had both teams hitters shaking their head. He's got a big strike zone.
1-2.
There's a great example of what I was talking about earlier of Santiago's wildness in the zone. First called strike was right at the upper corner. This one low and outside corner.
Fox Tracks presented by Carrier.
It's just hard as a hitter when the guy's all over the place. You just never quite get a
about
rhythm.
The pitcher or the umpire?
Well, in this case, the pitcher. But if we think about those three pitches, they just there's 3 strikes he struck out. The hitter there, it's upper outside corner, lower outside corner, inside corner. Just where's he going to throw it, and then where's he going to call it?
Narvaez will hit. I was convinced prior to this year that there was greater uniformity in the strike zone from umpire to umpire over the last few years. No, prior to this year, but this year it's been all over the place.
So here he is, up and away, down and away, and then in for the strikes. And I'm not sure any of them were strikes.
1-1 now with Santiago burning the outside corner. Narvaez drew a walk, ended up scoring. And the White Sox did all their damage against Santiago. 2-1. White Sox are 0 for 14, and Santiago's in the windup. Two and 1. And now 3-1. And with that, Santiago's now thrown 101 pitches. Narvaez batting 8th. Willie Garcia would hit next. On the outside corner, 3-2.
You best be swinging. I'm just telling you right now, you best be swinging. If this ball's close, it's going to be a strike. Santiago's got to miss by a whole bunch for him to walk Narvaez here.
And he walked it.
Oh man.
A 2-out walk.
That was way outside, but I didn't know that it was going to be far enough.
And this will very likely be the last man that doesn't even have anybody up. 5 runs up. A 5-run lead.
Just get it close and he's going to be out, but he just couldn't do it.
A foot wide.
Yep.
Here's Willie Garcia, single and a run scored and a pop-up to Adrianza.
Paul Molitor's going to let Santiago get through this inning. This will be it. He'll get somebody up when the inning's over. Get ready for the 8th.
Tyler Duffy getting loose. Just playing catch. Just started.
Yep.
Now 1-1. Two and one.
Well, I say he's going to let him get through this inning, but he's got to throw it over. Paul's not going to let him get back in the ballgame here, make it 7-4 or 5 before he goes to his bullpen. He's got to start throwing strikes.
There have been more walks than hits. 4 walks, 3 singles. Red Sox have only swung twice in the last 15 pitches. 2-2. High fly deep down the left field line. What a foul ball. Two and two to Willie Garcia. Way out in front, a dribbler up the line foul. Santiago at a 3-up, 3-down first, a 3-up, 3-down second. Trouble in the third. Faced just 3 men in the fourth, 3 men in the fifth. 4 men without a hit in the sixth, and now this is the 4th man he's had to face in the 7th. In other words, he's as wild as he's been. He's pretty much kept things under control.
He absolutely has. It's been a really good performance for the lack of command that he has, and I say that even though his MO has been in the past has been to walk more guys than he should and to struggle with his control a little bit, but he's kept the game under control. He's been able to do that very, very well.
3-2, and now ball for his 5th walk. Saladino will hit. We'll see whether the Twins have had Duffy warm up long enough to come into the game here. And they have. And Santiago got the first 2 outs of the 7th, then walked the 8th place hitter, then the 9th place hitter. And he will have gone through the Chicago lineup 3 times and given up just 3 hits. But a couple of men out there with 2 down, and Saladino will face Tyler Duffy. Nearly 7 good innings for Hector Santiago. former team, a 7-2 lead. But a couple of men left out there and a little work cleaning up seventh inning for Tyler Duffy. Needs to get an out and strand a couple of runners. Twins bullpen will hope to pin it down from there. But Duffy comes in with 2 on and 2 out.
Kind of mixed for Tyler Duffy so far this year. There have been times when he's been absolutely terrific to the point of dominating out of the bullpen, and then a couple of times he has not had his good command anywhere close to him. He's in a big situation here. He wants to close out this inning right here and now, not let it go any further.
Saladino takes a sweeping breaking ball, strike 1.
That's a great sign from Tyler Duffy when he comes in with that good breaking ball, and the first pitch he throws of his outing is a snappy breaking ball like that. That's a very good sign for him.
0-1. Fastball down and away.
A lot of times he'll overthrow early in his in the pitches to the first hitter. See him overthrow, hold on the ball too long, throw it to the screen. One game, come in here and snap a good curveball out.
Fastball missing, and it's 2-1.
Usually that's a pretty good sign. A little rushy there, last 2 fastballs, a little quick.
Two and 1 to Tyler Saladino. Swing and a miss at the fastball. Not only have some of the people changed, but roles have changed within the Twins bullpen. This is a role that typically Ryan Presley would have been asked to fill to try to get final out of the 7th inning, maybe some outs in the 8th inning, but Presley struggled, and for the most part Duffy has not. 2-2. Now backhanded by Castro. It's a full count. The runners will leave early.
And that's the one right there, the overthrow on that breaking ball. He really had Saladino set up to strike him out with a breaking ball. If he could just throw it, his good one somewhere close.
Melky Cabrera on deck, and Twins have created this situation with a pair of 2-out walks. Got him with a fastball, and Duffy strands 2. And the Twins still hold on to that 5-run lead. It has been a good night for Hector Santiago and Neil Allen. The Twins really needed a good start. Santiago gave it to them.
Yeah, he sure did. And right there, they're talking about the problem that he had there, especially in the 7th inning, getting back in the strike zone. And Santiago talking about a little bit about his mechanics, a little bit about his thought process. Neil Allen weighing in on that.
And now David Holmberg, the other left-handed reliever for the White Sox, comes in to face Ray Adrianza. Regarding Brian Dozier at second base, Paul Molitor said don't be surprised to see him later in the series, perhaps even in a starting role. But Adrianza's had a nice ball game here tonight. A big 2-run single in the 4-run 6th inning.
Yeah, that was a big hit. It really was. And it was great to see this young man get his first hit with the Twins, driving in those 2 runs, as big a runs as those were. But
now back to the mound.
I would tell you what's even more important is that the Twins lineup and Hector Santiago have put the Twins in a position to win this game without Brian Dozier and Miguel Sano. Very, very important victory right here. When you keep thinking of that man right there, Paul Molitor, making out his lineup, and he doesn't have Dozier and Sano, and he's got to think, man, hamstringing me here a little bit, guys.
And as it is, the Twins leading 7-2. Here's Byron Buxton's had a good day at the plate. 2 hits, a double, an RBI single, a run scored, and he takes strike 1. Swing and a miss, 0-2. 14,498 paid patrons, 463 dogs.
Okay, I'm gonna just sit on that.
And Buxton pokes one to right field, a base hit, his 3rd hit of the night.
Boy, is that nice to see.
With 2 strikes.
2 strikes. Pitch down and away. Go down and get it. See, he's got such good extension all the time on his swings, even when he's getting beat or when the ball is getting thrown by him. The one thing that he does is he's got very, very strong hands and forearms, and he gets good extension, and the ball jumps off his bat for his size and for his swing trajectory.
Ball 1 to Mauer.
It really is, I think, just a matter of time for him. Time and this approach, this center of the diamond to gap type of approach he's taken. He's just got too much talent not to be a really, really good major league hitter. 3-hit night will just add to that confidence, make him really feel good about what his approach is, make him feel good about the big contributions to a win tonight.
And all 3 hits to the outfield. And I don't know in his other 3-hit games whether there weren't at least 1 infield hit mixed in there.
Well, he hit a good sinking fastball running in on him for a double down the left field line. He hit a slider out over the plate into left center to drive in a run, and then he just hit a changeup on the outside corner, if that. Line drive into right field. That's,
well, yeah, 1 to each field.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, you can't ask for any more good news than that.
2-1 to Mauer. Off the handle of the bat foul. 2-2. Mauer with 2 hits. Twins with a dozen hits. Everybody but Castro has a hit. Down and away. It's 3-2. Trying to move 2 games above the 500 mark. I don't know why. It's early in the season, but their best baseball has been played away from Target Field. They had the 3-game sweep of the Royals, but if you remember, the Royals contributed more to the 3 wins for the Twins than the Twins did, with all the walks and some terrible relief work. Buxton takes off, and he will reach safely. Bauer thrown out. Buxton with an awkward tumble into second base, but he's okay.
Well, here are Byron Buxton's base hits. Here's a low and in sinker. He just drills it down the left field line for a double. Later on, gets a slider out front of a little bit, but dumps it into left center to drive in a run. And then this last time up, 2 strikes, good changeup down and away, go the other way. He's had some really good games against this White Sox staff. But the most important thing is just keep driving home. The approach is going to work. What you're doing is the right thing. You're a good hitter. You're going to be a good hitter. Confidence boost here that a 3-hit game will do for him. It's just all positive.
The 3 for 4 has kicked his average up from 160 to 188. Straight up in the air. And Narvaez with the catch. Buxton left at second base. Bottom of the 8th coming up. Twins still comfortably in front. You're watching Twins baseball, presented by State Farm. All right, thank you, Anthony. Melky Cabrera will lead off the 8th against Tyler Duffy. How you doing, partner? You holding up all right here?
Everything's great.
A little worried about the cold temperatures and how you were going to hold up. You've only lived in Minnesota most of your life, and you should be used to this stuff. This California kid crap, you know, I mean, at some point you got to give that up.
Hey, I gave it up a long time ago. I'm not saying it's because it's California. I just get cold.
Kepler comes in, makes the play, 1 away. And that'll bring up Abreu. My goodness, are you telling me that the White Sox announcers don't even have their windows on?
Well,
that's those guys over there.
Oh, this is great.
The wind's not blowing.
No,
right?
that's the.
If the wind were blowing, we'd both be miserable.
How in the world in Chicago does that wind not swirl up in here? But it's been okay. It really has.
Abreu has the last Chicago hit tonight, an RBI single back in the 3rd. There is that sweeping breaking
Snappy
ball.
breaking ball. I really like it.
More often than not, right-handed hitters react to get out of the way.
Yeah, it's a bit of it can be a bit of a knee buckler, that's for sure.
Hit hard. That's Joe McEwing. Foul. Excuse me, that's Nick Capra over there, third base coach now. Joe McEwing has been reassigned to the bench coach position. Renteria was on Robert Ventura's staff last year and then ended up taking the job. This one hit hard. Great stop at third by Eduardo Escobar, and he throws him out. A wicked one-hop smash, and Escobar picked it off.
Very, very valuable as an infielder, can play all over.
Another former Chicago White Sox player.
And here's a bullet. Makes a great reaction play. Third base is, as we watch it again, third base is an interesting position because plays normally are either total reaction or they're ridiculously easy. It's not called the hot corner for nothing. I mean, you get a ball ripped down at you and you can't do anything but react. Hope you react the right way, or it's somebody hits over the top of one and it's two hopper to you. But this is a reaction play. You see where he is. He's ready. The ball's ripped down there, and you just react athletically. And that little guy can do that all three positions: third, short, and second.
1-0 to Avisail Garcia. Well, you played a little bit of third base.
I did.
Yeah. And I guess now at short, you can have a ground ball hit toward you, and you can kind of measure the hops a little bit. At least I think you try to do so you get a good hop on the last hop.
Right.
But at third base, you're a hockey goalie over there, right?
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's either a total reaction play, or else it really is a pretty ridiculously easy ground ball most of the time. You have the bunt, the swing and bunt plays, or bunt plays where you have to charge and barehanded throw all at once. Or you're making a dive play or a knock it down with your chest play on a hard hit ball. Or guy hits over top, and here's a little lazy two hopper to you. You got all the time to do it.
Fastball off the plate, 2-2.
Shortstop, you got all kinds of time to think out there and mess it up.
Nope. You'd appreciate this, and I wish I could attribute it properly, but one of the best quotes about infield plays is, why is it that the bad hop is always the last one? Right? It's never the second hop of four. It's always the last hop.
Why do you, when you're looking for something, do you find it in the last place you look?
Well, now that one never made any sense to me, because once you found it, you stop looking, right?
Right. Well, the last hop is the bad hop because then it eats you up, and there aren't any hops after that.
Three and 2 to Avisail Garcia. On the outside corner, and Duffy has had an effective relief outing here. He's faced 4 men, gotten 4 men. He's stranded 2 runners, and ends the 8th with a strikeout. Duffy thanking Eduardo Escobar for a fine play. Still have time to bid. Call 800-33 Twins option 4. The bidding for the artwork up to $6,000. The Twins VIP package doing well. The Dozier Memorial Day cap and jersey, a game used jersey for $1,600. That seems like a bargain at that price. Here's Max Kepler. And there is ball 1. Kepler, Vargas, and Rosario in the Twins' ninth. Kepler with an RBI single, driving in the first run of the game back in the 4th inning. White Sox scored 3 runs in their half of the 3rd, and the Twins immediately answered. 3 batters into the 4th inning, and they had a 3-2 lead and haven't had to look over their shoulder ever since. Kepler bounces it to the right side and recovers one away. They'll bring up Vargas. The reason the Twins so abruptly turned the game around, Kenny Vargas, a 2-run rocket over the Twins bullpen in right field.
See if he can get himself going right-handed here a little bit. Swinging it very well left-handed, not as well early on. As I said, he's only got 13 at-bats or so right-handed.
Taylor Rogers warming up in the pen. Looks like he'll get the 9th inning. Strike at the knees or thereabouts. 0-1.
That's kind of been the name of this strike zone. It's been thereabouts tonight.
One and 1 to Vargas. Jack this swing. 2-1. Big swing and a miss. Now, when you hit a home run from each side of the plate, do you hit it right-handed first, left-handed?
I hit both times I did it. I hit left-handed first.
Okay. Two and 2 to Kenny Vargas. On the ground to short. Anderson to Abreu, 2 down. And now Eddie Rosario. Rosario started the 4-run 6th inning with a single against a left-handed reliever. The Twins hung up 4 earned runs against the Chicago bullpen. Down and away, ball 1. Chicago bullpen with a 6-1 mark, a 2.10 earned run average. They had given up 21 earned runs all year long. The Twins touched them for 4 tonight. 1-1 to Rosario. A strike, 1-2. Game 2 of the series, of course, coming up tomorrow. Another night game Thursday. Night game Friday in Cleveland. A mid-afternoon game Saturday. And a Sunday afternoon game. And all the games on the road trip. Twins TV. And Rosario buckles after swinging at a pitch under his chin. And the Twins go down 1-2-3. It'll be Taylor Rogers trying to pin it down. Taylor Rogers comes in to try to get this road trip started in the win column. Twins trying to move to 16 and 14 on the year. And kind of perverting the old baseball adage. You know, the old baseball saying is you win half your games on the road and win 2/3 of them on the road. And the Twins are doing just the opposite. If they can win tonight, their record on the road will be 8 and 4, and they're 8 and 10 at home. Here's Frazier. 0 for 2 with a walk. And strike one.
I think the Twins will get to a point where they're winning their share of ball games at home. Very, very important, especially early on here in this season with this young ball club, to hold their own as best they can. Another well-hit ball that Eduardo Escobar sucks up.
We'll be back at it again tomorrow as the Twins hope to continue to play well on the road. Phil Hughes will go for the Twins. Derek Holland's been really good for the White Sox, and he will make the start for Chicago.
Important for this young team to hold their own, hold its own on the road. But so far, they've more than done that.
And now Davidson.
Frankly, I think they've played better teams at home so far than they have on the road. So I think that that plays into it a little bit as well. They saw a good Cleveland team, a good Red Sox team. They've been on the road against the White Sox a couple of series now, Kansas City, Texas.
Struggling when Twins were facing them.
Yeah. In Detroit, I think that Jack Morris and we all were talking on our production call this morning about Jack made the comment. He thought that the Twins were appear to be as good as they, at least as good as the Tigers are. I think that's true. I agree with that.
Tigers today announced that Francisco Rodriguez has been replaced as closer. Justin Wilson will be their closer now in at least the short term. 1-2 to Matt Davidson. Indians 1. Strike 3 ball. 2 away.
It's right there.
Yep.
Great pitch.
2 down. That'll bring up Tim Anderson. Anderson hitless. 2 strikeouts. On the outside corner, another called strike. There have been 29 strikes called when the Twins are in the field. Ground pass Bauer and into right. The game's still alive with Anderson getting his first hit. Sharp ground ball, and Joe let the ball skip under his glove. And that'll bring up Narvaez. A decent chance, I suppose, given the late scratch, that Soto might not be able to play much, if at all, in this series. Soto only hitting 190, but he's got 3 home runs, 9 runs batted in. Narvaez not nearly the power threat, the run producing threat that Giovanni Soto is.
Well, I've got to tell you, when a catcher is scratched with a hurt elbow, with something wrong with his elbow, that doesn't sound good. That doesn't sound like a well, let's just all of a sudden give it one day if I'm not feeling great. That does not sound good.
Defensive indifference, I assume, allowing Anderson to go to second. Pitch was called a strike. This is 70th called strike of the night. 70.
Doing his best to speed these games along. Everybody's complaining about slow ball games. Swing the bats.
There's almost a called strike. Wasn't much of a swinging strike, was it? 1 and 2.
You know, Taylor Rogers breaking ball to left-handers will get, elicit swings like that one a lot. Right-handers seem to see that breaking ball a little okay, but left-handers really don't. I haven't seen one left-hander look comfortable against that breaking ball.
And Rogers ends it with an even uglier swing. The hit by Anderson, the first Chicago hit since Abreu's single made it 2-0. A good night for the Twins as they get this 6-game road trip started.
A really, really good night. Win the first game, trying to win a series and do it without Brian Dozier and Miguel Sano in the lineup. Very, very good win for the Twins.
Anthony, we know that Miguel Sano will be back in the lineup tomorrow. Maybe a decent chance that Brian Dozier will as well, but the Twins move the record up now to 16-14.